Hi beautiful, welcome to my channel. Today's video is going to be on the new Huda Brown Obsessions palette collection. These three right over here just came out a couple days ago. I immediately ordered it because I wanted to know my thoughts on them before the Sephora sale that is coming up in just a few days. So remember, the Sephora sale is coming up. If you want to get them on sale, just go to my links, add them to your cart, and just wait a few days so you can get them with a discount. That's what I would do anyways. Before we start the video, I have one big favor to ask you guys. I have talked about this in a couple videos in the past, but in case you didn't watch those, I applied to be part of the Sephora Squad for 2021. Sephora Squad is a huge opportunity for content creators like myself. It is a 1-year-long contract with Sephora, and I would love to be part of that. I worked at Sephora for 4.5 years. I started my YouTube channel while working there, and I've always loved the brands that Sephora carries, and they're definitely my favorite beauty retailer to shop at. So the way that applying for the Sephora Squad works is I apply, I submit my story, and then you guys have to give me a little testimonial on the reason that you watch my videos and are subscribed to me. It's like a job application, but with a twist, because without your guys' help, I'm not going to get the job. So anyways, if you like my content and you like my channel, please go to the link down in the description box. It's going to be the first one on top. It'll say Sephora Squad Testimonial, and it'll take 3 to 4 minutes of your time to fill out a little testimonial for me and help me out, and I will forever be grateful. If you guys like this video, don't forget to please give it a thumbs up before you leave. Also, if you're new here, my name is Patty, and I would love it if you subscribed, and we have a lot to get into, so let's go ahead and get started. Huda just launched all three of these palettes, and I honestly was not expecting these types of shades to come out in the springtime, because for spring she's had the neon collection and the pastel collection in past years, so I honestly was expecting something a little bit more colorful. These are a little bit more fall. However, I always like Huda's palettes like color story. There's always light shades, deeper shades, and a really good combination of mattes and shimmers. So let's go ahead and go through these palettes and show you what the inside of them looks like. So the first one is this Toffee Browns palette, and as you can see, this one has a little bit more of a warmer vibe. It's got some gold tones in there and some neutral browns, and then it's got these like toffee yellowy colors as well that complement the rest of the colors so nicely. The second palette is going to be the Caramel Brown, and this one has one funky shade, the first one in the palette that we'll talk about later on. It's actually a cream formula, not a shimmer formula. A little bit weird, but anyways, this one has more of a caramel burnt orangey type of vibe in it, and it also has really nice complementary colors. I really like that orangey shimmer on the top and the gold in the middle of the palette. And then last but not least, we have the Chocolate Brown palette, and this one is more of what we've seen before from Huda because it has a little bit of a burgundy vibe to it. However, once I used it, I actually realized that it's a little bit less burgundy and more neutral than I thought it would be. Again, a really nice combination of like shimmers and mattes, which I really appreciate. And this Chocolate Brown is actually the one that I'm using in this look. I will show you guys swatches of all three palettes. So these are the swatches of the Toffee Brown palette. As you can see, some of the shimmers are a little bit more see-through, less pigmented than the others, but the mattes in this palette swatch very beautiful. The second swatches are from the Caramel Brown palette, and you guys can see that first shade. That was the one I was complaining about earlier. It's kind of like a cream shade, but it has absolutely no pigment. It was a little bit bizarre, honestly. I did not enjoy playing with that one. The rest of the swatches in this one were okay, and I really love that orange shimmer in this palette. It looks really beautiful. I ended up not using that cream color when I created the eye look with this one because I didn't want to ruin a good thing. Last but not least, we have the swatches for the Chocolate Brown, and I have one complaint about this one, and it is that the darkest matte shade in the palette that you can see all the way to the right of the screen is really not as pigmented as I expected it to be. It's not as rich and creamy as the rest of the matte shades. This one I feel like I really had to like go back and build up. It didn't give me pigment right away. Besides that, I really like the color story of this palette. Okay, so you've seen the palettes, you've seen the swatches, and now I'm gonna go ahead and show you the 3 looks I created, one with each palette, and I'll come back later to give you guys some swatch comparisons and tell you what I think of these palettes and whether or not they're worth it. The first look is going to be with the Toffee brown palette, this one right here. I feel like this is the one that I think is the most interesting from Huda. I don't feel like I've seen a yellow quite like this one from her before, and that is of course the first color I want to use. Or should I use a base shade first? Let's use a base shade first. So I'm going to go into this color right down here, and we're going to just use it as a base in my crease here for everything to slide nicely. I'm using my REPHR number 16 for this, just back and forth blending. And then I'm going to go into that yellow shade that I'm so excited about, and we are going to blend it on the crease, just back and forth. Ooh, that is very pretty, very pigmented. Why am I getting yellow right here? And I'm going to diffuse that shade, of course. To deepen things up a bit more, I'm going to switch to my REPHR number 1 and this color up here. And we're going to tap it on the outer corner of the eye first and start blending it into the crease. And now I'm just going around it and blending, doing little circles around the color so that it blends into that yellow shade that we had before. That is so pretty. With the same number 1 brush, I'm going into this color here and I'm going to intensify things even more. So outer V and just back and forth blending it. I'm not going to take it as high as the previous color. Just back and forth on that outer V of the eye. Grabbing my REPHR number 3, I'm going to grab that same color and I'm going to smudge it right underneath my lower lash line. Connected here at the end, just back and forth with that number 3 brush. Let me do a little more on top too, just to match the intensity at the bottom. And then I'm going to tap into these 2 right here and diffuse the under eye area with my REPHR number 13 brush. A little bit more yellow, just to really blend it out. I'm going to grab this shade right here with my REPHR number 28 brush. And I think I'm going to put it right here towards the center of the eye. Okay, I'm grabbing a little more with my finger and I'm just going to tap it in place because it was kind of giving me a little bit of fallout and I have to take this makeup off and do another eye makeup afterwards, so I didn't want to have to redo my face makeup. So it's definitely better for shimmer shadows to be tapped on. And I'm not going all the way in because I do want to use one other shade. I think I'm going to do this one here. And I'm going to put it on the inner part of my eyelid. That is so pretty. Back with the number 28, I'm grabbing a bit more of that shade right here and doing it on the inner corner. To complete the look, I want to do a brown in the waterline, so I'm going to try this thick eyeliner from Chanel and just back and forth tight line with it. And I'm going to grab this color right over here and intensifying the outer corner a little bit more. Okay, this is how things are looking with the Toffee Brown Obsessions palette on this eye. I really like this look. This looks very pretty. Let me go ahead and put mascara on this eye and show you the final first look. Back with mascara on so I can give you a better idea of the completed look, and this is what we have. I honestly really like this little palette. I do love to add yellow eyeshadows to looks. That is definitely something that I am into. So this is what things are looking like, and let's go ahead and move on to the caramel palette next. So I'm going to do it on this eye, and with this one I'm going to start with the color right here at the bottom and the number 16 brush by REPHR that I just kind of rubbed on a paper towel to clean. And I'm doing this one on the crease of my eye. I'm not just going to blend this color back and forth, but also just do little circles around it, just kind of to take it a little bit higher on the crease. I honestly don't know a better way to explain what I'm doing except just saying, you know, little circles. Okay, so that is what we have, and now it looks a little bit higher on that crease, which is better. And I'm going to use this brighter orange shade right here with my same number 16. Ooh, that is pretty. Same number 16 brush, back and forth with windshield wiper motions. And I'm doing the outer corner of the eye as well. REPHR number 1, and I'm going to grab this color right here and add it to the outer corner of my eye. I'm dying to use this color right here because I remember really liking it when I swatched it. Ooh. So I'm going to tap it on my eyelid with my finger. That is a pretty shade. I just realized this doesn't have like a highlight color because this shade right here kind of is like a cream, and it's like not a highlighter, also not my favorite shade. It's kind of like, I don't know, I don't like that cream formula. It's hard, it doesn't, you know, like actually have that much pigment. It's kind of see-through-ish looking, and I don't love the texture or the way it shows up because it kind of shows up with not much pigment. So I think I'm going to use this middle shade here. This is the lightest one in this palette. I'm going to put it on the inner part of the eyelid here. And then I think one of the most interesting shades in this one is this super dark color here. It's kind of like a very creamy shimmer shade, and it has such intensity. You guys saw it when I swatched it. So I'm going to place it just on the outer corner of the eye. And I'm using my REPHR number 26 brush. I'm going to do a little bit underneath as well. And now with my REPHR number 14, I'm going back to my orangey shade. And I'm going to blend out my under eye. Same number 14 brush, and I'm grabbing this bottom shade and diffusing it even further. Okay, so this eye look doesn't have an inner corner highlighter, but let me be right back with some mascara on. I'm back with mascara on, and this is the final second look, and this one is with the Caramel Brown Obsessions palette by Huda. I really cannot even like try and use that shade. It's just horrible. I totally stuck my finger in it too hard because like pigment was not coming out. And let's go ahead and do the third and final eye look with the Chocolate Brown palette. I'm back, and this is the look with the Chocolate Brown palette. I'm going to show you how I did it now. So we're just going to replicate that on this eye. And I first started with the REPHR number 16, and I grabbed this color right down here, which is a beautiful peachy shade, and it makes for the perfect transition. So I'm just back and forth blending with my REPHR number 16, and as you can see, I have mascara on from the first two looks. I'm going to do a little bit on the inner corner and a little on the outer corner. And then we are going to intensify things a bit with this color up here. And I'm using my REPHR number 1 brush, so I'm doing outer corner and also the inner corner of the eye and blending them both to create a halo eye. Just back and forth with my REPHR number 1 brush. Blend, blend, blend. I'm stamping a little bit more on the outer corner with that same color up here, just to make things a little bit deeper back here. Right, so now I'm going to grab this shade, and I'm going to do a little bit right here on the inner part of the eyelid, but not right in the center of the eye. And with that same color, I'm doing the same thing on the outer part, leaving a space in the middle. If you have anything to blend, blend it. And then I'm grabbing this color right down here, and I'm putting it right in the center of both of those. And this is a color that I wish gave me a little more oomph. I feel like it has the potential to give me a little more, but there it is. That's how it looks. I mean, it's not bad. You can see it there. With my REPHR number 13, I'm grabbing this color down here, the darkest one, and I'm going to blend it on the outer third of my under eye. And after I do that, I'm going to take it up a notch and blend it with the outer corner of my eye, just so that we can deepen up everything here. And this is another color that I feel like has the potential to be a lot more pigmented right away, yet I'm grabbing a lot and I don't have to worry about it because it's not going to do too much too fast. You can kind of build it up easily, which I guess is also a good thing. But I really expected more pigment from it, especially because the rest of the matte shades across the board are very pigmented and blendable. I'm going to grab this shade right here, and I'm going to put it right underneath my lashes, all under my eye except the outer third that I already did with that darker color. And then with the REPHR number 14 and this peachy shade here, we are going to fully blend out the under eye area. Lastly, with my REPHR number 28, I'm grabbing this color here, and I'm going to put it right here on the inner corner of my eye. Here we go. So this is the third look with the Chocolate Brown palette. Let me go ahead and retouch my mascara. I think I'm going to do Walk of No Shame eyeliner from Charlotte in my waterline, and I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back, and like I said, I went ahead and reapplied my mascara, and I also used the Walk With No Shame eyeliner in the waterline. I also finished up the look with some lipstick. Everything on my face, as always, will be linked down in the description box of this video. So this is the third and last look with the chocolate brown eyeshadow palette, and we've now tried all three of them. But before I give you guys my review on the product, I definitely have to go through the rest of my Huda palettes and see what shades are similar in the palettes. I have every single Huda palette I own opened in front of me, and I am just confused about what I'm going to do with swatch comparisons, because I feel like maybe I should kind of eliminate the palettes that don't even belong to the same like color family. For example, these are the new palettes, and my Mercury Retrograde palette by Huda Beauty doesn't really have shades that are too similar to this one. Like, we might find maybe like one of the golds might be similar, or like this base color right here might be similar to one of the shades in this palette, but overall they don't have the same vibe. They're pretty different. So I'm going to just kind of put this one to the side and move on. Same thing with the Khaki Haze palette. These here don't have any greens or anything like that, so I'm going to put this one to the side. We don't need to be looking at the Neon Obsessions. By the way, I'm putting them all right next to it in case you were wondering how it compares, but I'm not going to like swatch all the shades. Purple Haze, different vibes. I'm even going to put away this one here because this one has very light colors, and all of these have more rich and intense shades, and none of them are necessarily pinky like this one is, so I'm putting this one to the side as well. I don't feel like there's a lot of similarities with this one either, and these shades up here maybe might be similar, but the formula in this one is so different, I don't think it's worth comparing it. And I think the last one I'm going to put to the side is the new Nude Palette, because this is like pinks and light shades, and this is more like golds and browns, so not the same vibe either. Okay, so I left the palettes here that might have the same vibe as some of these, and let's start with this one. I do think this is the most different, but I'm going to swatch, for instance, like not the base shade, but the gold shades in this one. So these four right here. From the Naughty Nudes palette, I feel like this one and this one have similar colors. And then from the Nude Medium and the Sand Haze, there are a couple of golds here that I'll swatch too. The top four golds are from the new Toffee Brown palette, the bottom four from similar-ish vibey palettes and what they have to offer. I think these two colors are very similar, and I mean the rest of them, again, kind of similar vibes, but not necessarily like exact dupes for one another. These two right here though, very, very similar, but the rest of them are different. Back to the same palette, I'm going to grab this shade and this shade, because I think these are the other two that might have dupes in other palettes. I feel like everything else here is either very basic, like this one where I don't want to compare it, or different enough, like these two shades right here are different enough that I can't really find them in any of the other palettes I have in front of me. So these are the two browns, and the brown shades in these palettes are actually very nice. From the Nude Medium, I'll swatch this brown and this brown. From the Nude Rich, I'll swatch this brown. And from the Naughty Nudes, I'm going to swatch this brown. I'm like, where do I put it? I guess right here. Okay, so as you can see, these here are true rich brown shades, and these down here all have a hint of burgundy, a hint of orangey, a hint of a different color, not quite as true brown as those two shades on top. Alright, I'm done with the swatch comparisons with this Toffee Brown palette. And I'm going to move on to the Caramel Brown. I feel like it's safe to say that there's nothing similar to this weird shitty shade up here, thankfully, in any of her other palettes. And these other two shades in the top row are very orangey, which I'm also not seeing actually this one here. So the orange was in the Desert Dusk palette, and this is what they look like side by side. So this new one here is a lot lighter of a shade than that one. Okay, so the other shades I'll swatch are this one and this one. And the only similar shade I'm seeing is the one in the middle of the Medium Obsessions palette, which is that one there. And now that we swatched it, we can see it's a lot darker. The last shade in this one that might have a dupe is this one here at the bottom. And it is this beautiful rich brown shade here. And the color I'm looking at is this one up here in the Medium Nude palette. And here's what they look like side by side. Again, slightly different. I'm starting to wonder if this whole swatching was even worth it. Putting the caramel brown away, and the last palette we're going to compare is the chocolate brown, which is the one I'm wearing right now. And I feel like in this one we might have a couple extra shades that might be dupes. So I think I'm going to swatch 4 of the matte shades, not this dark one. There's not really going to be a dupe for this one because this one's kind of weird and not pigmented enough, and I feel like the rest of the ones in front of me are pigmented enough. Alright, here are the 4 swatches I'm going to try and match. From the Sand Haze palette, I found this shade right here, and I felt like it could be similar to this light one here, but now that we see it side by side, this one's got a lot more yellow and this one's more on the peachy side. From the medium Obsessions, I found this one here and compared to that one, but this one is a bit more of a warm, lighter brown. And then I have the color Juicy here from this one, but this one's got more of a reddish tone. These are a little bit more neutral. I was trying to find one more and then I would let myself give up, but honestly I feel like everything else just kind of has a hint of burgundy in it, and it's not a true neutral shade like these here are. Let me go ahead and finally tell you what I think about these palettes right here. Formula wise, I think most of the matte shades are really good, except for in the chocolate palette. This one here, I felt like it could be more pigmented and it's not as pigmented. The rest of the matte shades across the board are very nice and blendable, a little bit powdery, but I can get to the look that I want to achieve very easily with them. They blend nicely into one another. The one disastrous color in the collection is undoubtedly this cream shade up here. We don't claim her, like we don't like her. It's kind of awful. And then the shimmer shades are kind of 50-50. I feel like there are some very rich, shimmery, sparkly shades across all 3 palettes, and then I also feel like all 3 palettes at least have one dud shimmer shade that is like not as pigmented as I would want it to be, and you kind of have to go back to build it up over and over, even if you are using your fingers. So overall, I say out of 10, I'm going to give them like a 7.5 maybe. I do like that I wasn't really able to find dupes for the palettes within the brand. Yes, there are some colors that have similar vibes, absolutely. Most of the colors that I was picking up from the other palettes had a lot more red in them, a lot more burgundy and purple in them. And the darker shades in these were kind of more on the neutral side. And then the shades that were truly special, like the orangey shades in this one or the yellowy toffee color shades in this one, I really don't see in any of her other palettes at all. So 7.5 out of 10 is what I would give it. Do you need to like run out and get it? Absolutely not, but the Sephora sale is coming up in just a few days. So if you do have an eye on any of these palettes, I would recommend that you go to the links down in the description, put them in your basket, and just wait like a few more days and you can get them with a discounted price, which is always awesome. Please don't forget to let me know down in the comment section which one of these you want me to do 2 other looks with in a separate video, because I have quite a few videos coming up and I cannot do it on the whole collection like I've done in the past. So I'm very interested to know which one of those you want to see more of, or you're interested enough that you would want me to create a couple other looks with. To finish it up, even though I don't think that any of these are super unique special colors, I feel like I have something similar somewhere in my collection. I never want to think of myself when I do these videos, because I know that the size of my collection is not the size of your collection at home, and you might not have something quite like this. So if you don't have something exactly like this in your collection and you are interested because you like the more compact size of these palettes or how travel friendly they are, I do definitely recommend them. And if you watch my video carefully, you know exactly what to expect, because I said every single little detail that I could think of about how the formulas perform and the different formulas in the different palettes. Okay, if you guys liked the video, don't forget to please give it a thumbs up before you leave. Don't forget to go down to the description box and please leave me a Sephora squad testimonial. It means the world to me. It is a huge opportunity that I am really hoping that I can get to be a part of. So it's like a job application, except you guys are the ones getting me the job, okay? So I'm counting on you to tell them why you come back to my channel, why you like watching my videos, and hopefully I can get this job, you know? I love you all so much. Thank you for being here. I truly hope that you guys liked this video, and I hope to see you back in the next one. Bye!